Hello, my name is Yvonne. I'm with JK Lifestyles with Yvonne. Today, we're lucky enough we have Miss Deborah Cooper joining us again. She's a life coach, counselor. She gives good advice. She's been doing it for over 30 years. She has a YouTube channel called Deborahism,
Debsterism.
Debsterism. She has you have a website too.
Actually, a couple of websites, and yeah, the YouTube channel and some books that are available on Amazon.
Okay, we're going to jump right into this. I want to know, why do people choose the partners that they end up choosing?
Oh, girl, you be coming with with these
I'm
deep
telling
questions
you.
that make my brain have to work.
Yeah.
My last two brain cells. Um, that's interesting, and I don't think there is any really one answer to that, but it depends on if the person has a healthy sense of self, I think is the at the core of it. If they have a healthy sense of self, they're not going to waste their time with people that disrespect them, mistreat them, and abuse them. Don't give them the relationship that they want. Corner cut, dodge, and all that kind of stuff. They're not going to. And if the person does those kind of things, they will soon be out of the relationship. They don't spend a lot of time in those. They don't invest emotions and time in those situations. But if you have someone who's damaged, and I'm not saying it's their fault, because some of the stuff happens when they're little kids. I mean, what are they going to do? But people suffer all kinds of neglect and abuse, abandonment issues. Um, they really struggle with connecting with others and trusting others. They're going to choose people that kind of reinforce those situations and those experiences. So you would think that they would go the complete opposite, but that's not what happens. They find people that reinforce that negative belief that they have about themselves, like I'm not deserving. So they find someone who tells them you don't deserve anybody better or treats them in that way. So sometimes, the only way out of a situation like that, you just have to get some therapy. You just have to break down, spend that money, and figure out why get yourself some help to getting out of those unhealthy relationship loops. Those, I think that's the best overall answer I could give because we could talk about that one question for the whole show.
Mhm. Like, because I was wondering, like, sometimes, say if you had a parent that, um, say they had a husband that was a gambler or has some type of addiction issues, would they necessarily subconsciously find someone that had that type of issue? Something that made them unavailable.
Right. Like that's it, like say like children who grew up as children of alcoholics. So they might get with somebody, the person might not be a drunk, but they might be a druggie. Or just like you said, they'll be a gambler addict. There's and some or they or some other way they have a lot of different partners, they cheat all the time, whatever. They're going to choose something, like I said, that's going to reinforce that feeling that they had in childhood, that feeling of abandonment, nobody really being there for them, having to beg for love and attention, have to earn it and work for it, not feeling deserving of it. It's the same pattern, even though the face and the situation may change, the feeling that they're going to get on the back end from that is going to be exactly the same. It's like it's a repetition. Yeah, it's sad.
This is almost the same type of question, but how would you determine if a person is a waste of time? Or they're not
Ah,
going to give you what it is that you need. How soon should you recognize that? What signs are they displaying to let you know? And it may be very subtle signs. It may not be something overwhelming, but those little things that you should watch to
to let you know that the person is not. What was the top of the question? I'm sorry, I was listening to all your
oh,
explanation.
I did do a lot of add on to how can a person properly determine if a person is a waste of their time?
Okay. Well, on my channel, I have I think it's a 2 video set called What's in It for Me.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that sounds harsh, but that's pretty much the way that it has to be. When you get with somebody, you have to ask yourself, okay, what this person's offering, what am I going to get? How is this going to meet my needs? How is this going to be good for me? And it's kind of a process that a lot of women don't like to do because they feel like it makes them they believe they're selfish. They're not giving. They're not a good girlfriend. They're not a good wife if they have standards and boundaries and make demands. And then if the guy doesn't meet the demands, cut him loose.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, it pretty much sums up into two, is two, this is a two-part answer. The first part is you have to know yourself. You have to know yourself. I mean, what is it that makes you happy? What is it you need in a relationship? What do you need from your partner that
Mm-hmm.
you can't provide yourself or don't want to provide yourself? Okay, that get clear on that first. Then you have to be honest about if this person that's in front of you can give you those things. So that's why I say it's two parts. Because a lot of times, people come in and they talk a good game. Oh, yeah, yeah, we gonna do this and we gonna do that, and I'm gonna take you here, I'm gonna take you there, I'm gonna do this and that. They talk so much smack, but as you sit there and look at them, they ain't busting a grape. Ain't nothing actually happening.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you have all these expectations and needs and things that you want in a relationship, and he's just talking and ain't nothing materializing, well, that should be a sign. You know what I mean? Or
Okay.
you have the things that you know that you don't want, and then he's providing those. That's another sign. No.
Well, what about, like, how do you set up boundaries?
Oh, yeah, a lot of women struggle with that. Girl, this is I think the number one problem that I've experienced in my 30 something years of doing this is women don't feel like they can say no, and I don't want to, and I don't feel like it. Leave me alone, and these kind of things, boundaries to back other people up off of them. And so they're like, I want to be nice. I want to be this girl. Nice don't even, I don't use that word anymore. I don't use it. I don't use it. And boundaries, okay, to kind of make it simple. Boundaries are how you protect yourself. You have limits. You have things that you just will not accept and things that you will not do and things that you will not let other people do to you or to your property, to your kids, or whatever. You have limits and you have no problem expressing those. So, it's great to have boundaries, but you need to be able to express them so other people know what they are. Then if they cross them and you're in a relationship and you know, use good solid English, Spanish, whatever language you speak, and you told them what your boundaries are, and they deliberately violate said boundaries, but then you know that it's time to go. Don't negotiate, don't compromise, don't give them another chance because you've already told them. And I feel like I don't even like to tell kids the same thing twice. I'm not telling no grown man nothing. I told you one time, and that's the only time you should have wrote it down and recorded with your phone or something. You was forgetful.
Well, they do say you teach people how to treat you. And I think if
In
you,
a certain sense, yes, but when we're grown now, we don't need to teach anybody anything. You should know how to act by now. Once you over 30, because the 20s people are still kind of experimenting, and a lot of people get started dating late, and I mean different things impact that. So okay, by the time you hit 30 though, you already know how to rock and roll in this world in a way that respects other people and yourself. Now, if you choose not to do that, that's one thing. But I'm not gonna sit there and give you a play-by-play instruction book on how you gonna treat me. I'm not gonna do that. You figure that out before you talk to me. Because you know how I talk on my channel. I get on the roll and all kind of stuff be happening. But yeah, they should know that. And so you don't teach them how to treat you, but by your boundaries, you let them know what they ain't gonna do. I tell you that. So I guess if you want to say that's teaching them how to treat you, I suppose that might apply.
okay, say for instance, when I had asked a guy that came in to do some work. I said, I'm gonna have a someone on relationship expert. If you had to ask a question, if you would want me to ask a question, what would it be?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And one of the things he said is, say for instance, a guy who's not good looking, they approach this woman and they say something. The woman would rebuff them. But if a nice looking guy comes over and says the exact same thing, it'll be welcomed. So he wants to know, why would that type of situation exist? Why would that woman or young girl or whatever, why would that woman take it that way, react that way?
Because she's not attracted to him. I mean, duh. Is this rocket science? She's not attracted to him. I mean, somewhere in this world is going to be somebody that's attracted to him, but it's not her. And that's the thing about guys. They feel like if they have the basics, like they have a job, they got a car, they got their own place, they don't have a prison record or whatever, they pay their bills on time, that makes them qualified for any woman that they desire in this on this planet. And I keep telling them it's not like that. Women have to be attracted to you just like they want to be attracted to us. So they don't know they're not going to be walking down the street and being attracted to say some, I don't know, 400-pound, 5 foot tall woman. They're not going to want that. They don't like that. So if that woman approached them, they'd be like, oh no. Whereas if somebody who was there, somebody that turned them on, they would be like, oh yay. It's the same thing with women. So I don't know. I mean, guys always ask this question, but to me, this that speaks of entitlement. Like they feel like because I like you, you have to like me back. Because I want to approach you and get your number and stuff, you have to give it to me. And I'm constantly in their ear telling them, you need to get over yourself because you ain't paying nobody, and nobody has obligated to give you their even the time of day. You should have it on your phone. you know.
If a person is in uh, I don't want to say bad, but a relationship that's not satisfying, it's really kind of depressing them, have them down. When they know deep down they should leave, why don't they actually leave?
Sometimes it's like I said, the low self-esteem. They don't feel like they can find anybody better. They don't think they deserve better. Sometimes it's economic. They know they can't really afford to leave, especially if they have a couple of kids. Um, Sometimes they just feel like I'm just gonna stay till the kids get older. It's a conscious decision that they
Mhm,
make. And then sometimes, and I think this is the most frequent reason because it even applies to single people with no kids, is that they're afraid of quote being alone, being single.
mhm.
They feel like, you know, even some piece of a crappy relationship is better than none at all. So they stay.
Well, sometimes I think we all know someone that it seems like they never want to be alone. It's like they break up with someone and they have another boyfriend within, I mean, almost instantly. And it's like, why don't you want to be by yourself? I mean, for a little bit, just to balance yourself out and find out what it is that you really want, or why always have to have somebody? What
I
is
don't
so
know.
what is
I've
so
met a
bad
lot of
about
people like
being
that.
alone? What's so bad about being alone, being by yourself? I mean, it doesn't have to be forever, but I mean, why constantly having to have a romantic interest in your life?
They feel like, and it starts really young too, because I sometimes get letters from little teenagers, and it's alarming to me. Well, all my other friends have a boyfriend. I don't have a boyfriend. I feel like I'm so ugly. I'm nothing. Nobody wants me kind of thing. So they tie their sense of worth and their value to a man, to a relationship. And
Mhm,
in a situation like that, it's not like they're waiting for the right man, a man who's going to fulfill their needs and be respectful and honorable and all those things. They don't care about that. It's just just a body, and
mhm.
that's the type of women that you're talking about. This is go from man to man. The first guy that pays them any attention, they call it their boyfriend, and they start trying to quote make it work. Well, most of the time it shouldn't it shouldn't be working, shouldn't even have talked to his behind. But it's just sad, and they waste so many years of their lives, so much money and time. Just I don't know. That's the best answer I could give is they just really they struggle with being by themselves because of that programming that they got when they were young, that women who are by themselves are nothing. You see that a lot online. Like how the guys do, like they start trying to taunt you and saying, well, you're just gonna be single with cats. They make it a negative. They try to turn it around to make it women be afraid of being single and like
Mhm.
there's something wrong with it. Well, why ain't you married? And ain't nobody. I'm like, clown, you just as single as me. So shut up. You just in the same boat. You have a lot of nerve trying to talk about somebody, you know. And it's the kind of way I think that unfortunately a lot of women perpetuate that with their daughters, but men are the main perpetrators of this because they want to position themselves to where women will compete for them and do what they want them to do out of desperation to have a man. So he's not going to be held to some really high standards of performance and behavior. They're just going to just be with him because any man will do. That's what they want. It gives them power. And when a woman has a strong mind and she realizes that she can be by herself and accomplish things and be very happy with, herself and her friends and family, maybe coworkers or jobs or career development, whatever. A man would be nice, but it's not a necessity. They lose power then because she's choosing then. They're going to have standards that they have to meet. They're going to have to put in some work to get that woman. And they don't like that.
Yeah, how many of them will decide to put in the work though? They probably figure, why should I put in the work over here if I can go over here and don't have to do too much of anything?
Exactly. And that's one of the dilemmas, the conundrum that we face when you're a woman with standards. But that's why I tell women, though, if you have a choice, either you can be single and happy, or you can be in a relationship and miserable, because if you have to wait, be single and happy, and wait for the guy to come around or search for or what travel or whatever you're gonna do to put yourself in a position where you would meet the kind of guy that you're looking for. But just to settle for anything just because out of desperation, the women always end up miserable, girl. They end up miserable. Oh, he ain't doing nothing. He don't buy me flowers. He don't buy me no gifts. He calls me names. He don't give me no money. He don't, it's a horrible situation for them. But they got a man. They got a man. I just be looking at them because I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that.
Okay. On you see it in media and everything else. It seems like Black men have no problem dating outside their race. But it seems like Black women are not so quick to do so. It's like maybe you see a little more of it happening now, but it's like they're a little hesitant to date outside their race. At
Yeah.
least, like I think so. Why do you think that is?
Well, we've talked about that. And you're right, it is changing. And I think a lot of it has to do with, women's fear. Because if you've never, you got to realize, okay, like the area that I grew up in is very racially mixed. In San Francisco, there's somebody from every corner of the world there. And that's how like I have pictures of in my youth of my friend group, and it was like a little United Nations. So that's how I grew up. So yeah, I was exposed to men of other races and other cultures. And so when you're around them, you will tend to date them. If you are grew up in a largely Black area, you don't really have that much contact with non-Black men. So for you to suddenly have a romantic interest within one of them is, I mean, it's going to probably most likely be a career related thing, work related kind of situation. And then a lot of women don't want to date a man that they work with, period, or the company has a rule against it. So that even further reduces the opportunity. So, it makes it difficult to really, I can't really fault sisters for not doing it, but I'm just saying it's the more that they can open themselves up, learning things about other cultures, traveling, putting that poor passport in motion, going to other places, seeing how other people live, and then learning about that stuff and incorporating those foods, those cultures, that music and stuff into your life, you're more likely to be able to get involved with a man of another race. Like even like salsa dancing. This Afro-Caribbean kind of moves. It's, very similar thing. But you go to a salsa club, you take some lessons, and you go salsa dancing, you and your girls. And you can meet a lot of Latin guys and other men of other races too that like salsa dancing. And you have something in common, and it'll be fun and good exercise too. So, you just have to make a little effort if that's not, your normal social circle. But I think it's very valuable because it broadens your horizons to travel and be involved with men of other cultures and races.
Mhm. Another thing that I wanted to ask you about are open marriages.
Oh no, that's an oxymoron.
What?
You know,
Oh, okay, describe what an open marriage is.
well, that means it's two fools that decide they gonna be married in a traditional sense, but then they will be able to tip out whenever they make a plan. Well, it depends how they structure it. Either they tip out when they want to, or they tip out together. It's like an
Mhm.
agreed upon thing. I don't know. I've heard it structured different ways. And then I actually did an interview with this couple, this lady one time, and she was in like a what they call it, a try.
Oh,
It,
with
wa- it,
three of them?
yeah, it was three of
Yeah.
them. Her with two
Mhm.
dudes, and I was like, "Ooh, I don't know if I could do that." But
Mhm.
she seemed to like it to be loving it, so I'm like, whatever. But yeah, that's what open marriage is. So yeah, they're technically married, like under the law, the two, but they have other partners, and their main partner, their husband or wife, is okay with it. See,
Why
that's why I
do
say it's an oxymoron because open and marriage, them two
yeah,
things don't go together.
I wouldn't think so. Why do they engage in that type of thing?
Like I said, stupid. So,
I mean,
stuff,
is
it never
it
works out. They always end up divorced because at one point, it gets threatening. No matter how exciting it might be at the front end, in the back end, nobody wants to live back like that. It's other people, the feelings get involved, emotions go haywire. The kids get involved if they find out it's just like it's just a mess. It's just a mess. Just get a divorce if you want to be with other people.
I would think that once you bring somebody in, there's a chance that, the other two may start caring about each other, and they're meeting without you, and they get closer and you're the one out.
Exactly. That's
And
usually how it goes. Even if it's not that, the open part, the first partner that they got involved with when they first opened things up, it'll be somebody else that they met that they just like better, and then they decide they don't want to have an open relationship with that person. They only wanted that craziness with you, so then they leave you to go over there, and then they have a closed marriage.
okay.
Girl, it's just I don't know. Women be letting themselves get talked into all kind of stuff. This is the boundary that I'm talking about. When he starts talking all that kind of crazy stuff, he's supposed to say, "Is that what you want to do? Well, let's head on down over here to this divorce court, and then you can go and date everybody that you want to, because you'll be single." That's the answer he would get from me. We're not doing that.
I just think a lot of women want to hold on to a guy, or a guy wants to hold on to a woman, and they feel like, well, okay, if this is a little step, we'll agree, we'll do it together. I mean, I know they love me. They're not going anywhere. We're doing this together. But then it's just,
See, from where I come from, when men start suggesting crazy stuff like that, they have lost respect for you. I mean, for the fact that, because every man who I've ever met in my life who really loved his wife, he don't even want another man looking at her too. What you mean? What you talking about? Don't be looking at my wife. You lost your mind and stuff. So for a man to suddenly switch up, he's been fine all this, and now suddenly all of a sudden now he want to do all this sweet nonsense. That marriage is over.
you
It's
you don't
over.
think. You don't think we're just being old fashioned about it, that the younger crowd or more, exposed, want to get into different things type of crowd goes with it, feel that that's fine?
They can feel it, but I'm just saying, with my all my years, I've never seen that work out well. It
Mhm.
always crashes and burns. And then from the female side, they feel embarrassed, um, confused. Like, I thought I was giving him what he wanted. How did it end up like this? Humiliated sometimes if the guy, I mean, they might have opened it up with like a couple of friends that they know. So they still, she knows the other woman really well and then he leaves her for her. So she's hurt, her kids are hurt. I mean, it's just a hot mess. So it's really better if people don't want to be with each other the way that they originally signed up for, you want to change the deal, just cancel the deal and just get divorced.
Okay, I want to ask you, are there some things that a marriage can, or relationship can repair itself from? Like, say, if it's gambling or infidelity or addiction, um, can a marriage or relationship return from that type of, I don't want to say betrayal, but situation?
Well, I'm not going to say it can't, but I think the percentage is maybe 1% because you have to be realistic. When somebody's got an addiction, that thing has more hold over them than any amount of love they can give to you. They can't even control themselves. So please explain to me how you think that person's going to control themselves enough to give you what you want. They can't do it. A lot of people waste decades of their life chasing around trying to make that happen. It's like, if you find out, your dude is he's addicted to them adult movie situations and them adult websites. That's a real common one these days. Gambling, drugs, alcohol, any of that kind of stuff. That's his woman. Okay, that's his woman. And what you doing is hanging on, trying to, you know, jump in, like we used to do when we played double dutch. You got the
Mm-hmm.
time that you trying to jump in so you don't get tangled up. It's like it's to me, it's similar to that. He's got this going and he's doing this, and you trying to jump in, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just not gonna work. It's not gonna work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but this is, at the top of the show when you asked me about how you know when women should leave. To me, when somebody starts expressing that they have an addiction, or I notice that that's what they have, that to me that's it. If we don't be any getting it back together, it's gonna be after you've been clean and sober or away from that issue for a couple of years, and then
Mm-hmm.
we'll talk if I'm still available. But most likely I won't be. But you give them a little hope as you send them on their way. Yeah, check me out in about 3 years when you got that 3 year little coupon they give you from AAA and uh, Addicts Anonymous and whatnot.
Okay, say for instance, someone's in a relationship and they break up and they come back, they break up, they come back. Um, what is it, the person that initiates the breakup? What is it that they're doing? What is it that they're trying to accomplish by when they break up and then they come right back? Or they come back at, I don't know, they let a little time come,
Right.
pass, and then they come back. What is
Well,
that about?
usually they thought that they could find something better. And maybe what they wanted at that time was better, but it didn't work out. So here they come back. So, you like to rebound.
Mhm,
And some there are situations where people do that over and over. They go out because they want to break up because there's somebody else they're interested in. They don't really want to cheat though, so they break up and they go to the other person, and then they be with them for 3, 4, 6 months or whatever, sometimes a year, and then it don't work out. And then here they come back to you because they don't want to be alone. So you welcome them back to try again, and then the cycle repeats. That's why I say when you break up with somebody, just stay broke up.
Mhm.
Concentrate on why you broke up with them or why they said they wanted to break up with you. Don't think about the good times. Think about what they said to you and how they treated you, and then do better for yourself. And don't keep, like my daddy used to say, like sharks always swim forward. Did you notice that sharks don't be swimming backward? Only
Mhm.
people go backwards.
Mhm.
So just be like a shark and just keep it moving. Shh, away from the nonsense.
I think that's what hangs a lot of people up is that you start thinking about the good times. And you think that if you get back together again, it's going to bring about those good times again. And I
Well, that's
think,
usually the setup, Yvonne. They call you, right? Because you didn't block them like I tell women. Do you block them? So here we come. Oh, hi. Because it's a script. It's a script. I just want to see how you was doing. I was thinking about you. What's up? How's your mama doing? And, if you got kids, how's little Johnny doing? How's your job doing? Yeah, I was really, I went over here and there. I remember we used to go here and we used to do that. And oh yeah, I was really missing you. So what's the game is, see, they start reminiscing and it gets your feelings into how you felt about them in the past in these situations. So it's a mind game, and they all run the same script. So it's gonna be some variation of this theme. But
mhm,
the goal is to get you thinking about the past. Remember how we used to go when you still kiss like that? Do you still cook that fried? So he's getting all the happy memories, and then the women start eating it up. And so he's like, "Well, Ken, I was thinking about coming by and stuff. So yeah, let's catch up. Let me slide in there. So this and that. What you cooking?" So she all happy, right? Because she's like, "Oh, you coming over? I'm a cook." And so he comes in, he eats, and then the next thing you know, they on the mattress, and she trying to figure out what happened. And then, he might stick around for a week, two, three, and then after that, it's going to be the same BS and drama that it was, and then he's right back out again. But that's the setup. That's how they get the women in that, thinking it's going to be all romantic and wonderful and stuff. And it's the
it's
same
gonna
old
it's
game,
gonna work
same
out this time. It's gonna work out
old.
this time. I
Yeah,
just know it.
because I learned what I've been thinking. I learned so many things since we've been apart. I had so many experiences. I've really grown. I really understand myself a lot better now. Yeah, I'm not the same man I was. I'm better. Yeah, you're a better liar. That's about the only thing you better at. Girl, I'm telling you, it's like that's what's horrible about when you get old. The information, the knowledge and wisdom that you wish you had when you wish I had it when I was younger. So
Mhm.
that's why I spend so much time teaching young girls. You don't have to make all the mistakes and be played like that. I'm telling you what the games are. Just listen. It's the same thing every time. That's why I say block them. When you break up with them, block them so they can't do that. Block them on social media, block them on your phone, block them on your email, block them everywhere. So they can't get at you. They can't run that game on you if you block them.
Mhm. Well, thank you for coming on.
You're
I
welcome.
I just love it when you come. I just
You always have interesting questions, but I have to lay down after one of your interviews because my head be hurting. It's like she be making my little two brain cells work.
well, I be feeling invigorated after I talk to you. So, I
You
just
are
feel
so funny.
I really do. But today, Miss Deborah Cooper joined us. Tell me your website again.
It's the YouTube channel is Debsterism. It's Debsterism. There's like, I don't know, probably about 1,800 different videos there about relationships, one form or another, and women's female empowerment and self-improvement.
Mhm.
Um, I have a blog. It's old. I haven't updated it in a while called survivingdating.com. Lots of articles. That's what I used to write before I did the YouTube. So there's tons of articles there that you can read, blog posts and things. And then my little website, debsterism.com, that talks about the show, and you can submit an advice question there too.
That's where I first heard about you. I used to read your articles. People used
Yeah,
to
I
write,
used to do a lot of
you
writing, but
know,
now I just prefer to talk because I just want to run my mouth. I don't want to type anything anymore. I'm tired.
you you do it well, so why not, I love talking to you. I love reading your articles too. So, but I love talking to you, and I'm so glad you came on today.
Yeah, it's always a good time. Happy New Year, by the way, because I forgot to say that when we started out.
Me too. Happy New Year.
Okay, well, I look forward to talking, catching up with you again soon.
Definitely.
All right,
Okay.
girl. Bye bye.
Goodbye, everyone.